Hello, welcome to the Woman Worthy Show. We're gonna be up to so much shenanigans tonight. It's gonna be crazy. I have Miss Wonderful Tara Rosenberger. I have Miss Adina Torres, and I have Miss Zena. Excuse me. I was getting like Cardi B for a minute. Miss Zena Sharpston. And I am Jacqueline Carr. So welcome to our Motivational Monday show. Now, today we're going to get deep. I want you guys to meet my tribe. One person I've known, Tara, I think I've known her, I think when I was like maybe 13. Adina, I've known, I think since maybe 11, 12, something like that. Zena, I think probably 9 years old, okay? Tonight's show is Meaning of the Minds Concerning the Times, part two. So, we have beautiful, intelligent women. We'll be discussing the following topics. So one of the topics I'd like to start with is, how can we start the process of healing from inherited dysfunction from our family dynamics? This topic was given to me by the lovely Miss Rosenberg. Now, let me know if y'all really want to get into this, because I'm telling you, the shenanigans, this will be my therapy session. I think she chose this topic because she knows my business and she wants to put my business on the road. Okay. She chose this, but she want to put my business on front. It's okay. So, okay, guys, what do you guys feel about how do we start the healing process, or how do we begin the healing process from an inherited of dysfunction from our family dynamics? I'll start with the lovely Zena.
How do we heal? I don't know. I think that the start to healing is recognizing that there's a problem, right? And acknowledging that there's dysfunction and removing yourself from the situation, giving yourself an opportunity to kind of analyze what's going on. It's interesting. I'll say a little story before I go on. My brother always says to inspect the expectation. Right. And also in reading Maya Angelou's book, also she mentions when people show you who they are, believe them. Right. So in the case of dysfunction, it's acknowledging that there's something wrong, speaking up and bringing it to someone's attention, that if they do something wrong to you, bringing it to their attention, and then possibly taking steps to rectify whatever that is. Sometimes you're not able to rectify the situation if it's a dysfunctional situation. So then you have to be willing to remove yourself.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, we started the show and we didn't cheers. Let's do our cheers.
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 Okay, so I'd like to ask Miss Adina, how do we start the process? For those of you tuning in, we're talking about how do we heal, or how do we start the process of healing when we have dysfunctional people in our family. I'll make it smaller. How do we do that? How do we, especially when it comes to family dynamics? So Adina, I'd like to ask, what is your response on that?
I would have to say that sometimes it's inherited. The dysfunction, and it's also influenced by the personality traits that we have. So a lot of the experiences that we've had in our lives are not our own, they're of someone else's. For example, if your parents didn't swim, they would not allow you to go in the water. It's like, no, don't do that, you're going to get hurt. And it's an inherited behavior. And while parents think that they're helping, or someone in the house thinks that they're helping, they're actually hindering the person from, creating their own positive experiences. And we pass that down. I remember when I was going for my psychology major, one of the very simple things that was brought up that they did a research on was a family had a meatloaf recipe, and the daughter would cut the ends off. And her daughter asked her, well, why do you cut the ends off? And she said, I don't know. My mother always cut the ends off. So she asked her mother, And her mother said, I don't know. My mother always did it. So when she asked her mother said, well, my pan was too small, so I just cut the ends off. So it could be as simple as that, or it could be something that's, traumatizing that we just pass on. So how do we heal? That's a great question. I mean, look at where we are right now. We almost have no choice but to search within to find the answers that may or may not be true. And I'm sure that we're all questioning, the dysfunctional things, well, the dysfunctional characteristics that we all have. I mean, we're all saying that we're experiencing a change. You're remembering things that you used to do that were very, natural and not so dependent on the world. So I think that we're trying to get there. That's how I feel.
Okay. And I want to give a shout out. Miss Pam is on. And I think she's tagging a Valerie Davis. And I have Deborah. Hi, Deborah. How are you doing, Miss Wilborn? You always supporting. Can I tell you? I'm loving you. Okay. Mine. Okay. You want to know how, again, we're talking about how do we heal from family dysfunction, particularly when family dynamics involved. Simple for me, divorce them. Next, T.
Me, first you is acknowledging that there is a dysfunction, and that's self-awakening. It's like after you become at a certain awareness within oneself, you start to look around and notice that certain behaviors is not normal or it shouldn't take place. That's one. Second is after you're able to be awoke in order to function with the people who are still under the dysfunctional spell, if you will, is to call it out. Like if there's someone in the family that's known to do certain behaviors that always cause an argument or a disagreement when they come around, instead of people addressing it, everybody don't learn to go along just to get along. So one person calls it out, and then you become the problem because they don't want to deal with the energy of having to address that behavior. So the whole thing is that everyone in order to fix the dysfunctional part as the family dynamic, everybody have to be on the same page to want to heal, to want to change it, and want to fix it. If there's a possibility to fix it, because sometimes it's so deep that it can't be fixed in one generation.
But that's true. And Zena, go ahead, Zena.
To piggyback off what you're saying also, Tahira, a lot of times people will justify certain behavior to say, oh, that's just how he or she is, right? But you're doing that service because you're condoning a certain behavior that you don't necessarily want to deal with yourself personally. And knowing that other people don't want to deal with that person either, it creates a distance.
Absolutely.
Right? And then what happens is that although a lot of times people, as much as we should be open to criticism, people assume that naturally because someone brings something to your attention, it's always a bad thing, right?
Right.
But we all have to understand whoever the person that's creating the dysfunction or whatever, sometimes the truth hurts, but you have to be open and willing to accept it.
And that's true because I know for me, there's always that one person in the family where everyone says, "Oh, you know how they are," and I'm the pun intended, the black sheep of the family, because if the elephant's in the room, I'm going to say the elephant's in the room, and the elephant's not pink, it's gray. Let's address it, because I'm one of those. Let's address the issue. But a lot of my family are kind of afraid of a particular person, and me, I'm the bull in the china cabinet. So me. What I've decided to do, it's not me where I have it. It's you can love us both, but they have it where if you talk to Jackie, so people are kind of sneaking to try to talk to me. I'm like, look, our stars are not in alignment, so we don't have to have conversation. And that's what I'm saying now, because she's laughing because what I've learned to do, instead of telling people, like some people may curse and say the F word, you and all that, I don't do that. What I've learned to do now is to say politely, it's okay. Our stars are not in alignment. Bye-bye. So that's what I say when I'm cutting people off. So for me, what I've chose a healthier route with my family is not to be bothered. I have some that I'm with, and the others I'm okay. I can do without, because toxic is not just your friends. Toxic are your family. You guys are my new family. That not just now, but T, you've always been. Zena, the Cord, Adina, we're family. So I've created a family. Oh, Ray Diamonds Fjord said, "Hello, Zena." I think that's one of your friends. Yeah. So we wanted to. So that's how I deal with it personally. But Zena, I think T, you wanted to say something. Were you going to chime in?
No, I'm saying you did a nasty nice. That's what you changed it out to be. A nasty
exactly.
Nice.
And Brooklyn has taught me how to do this well. So yeah.
You're absolutely right. I feel the same way, especially with family. At this point in my life, I don't think that I need to understand that someone is, we step around that person like eggshells. And I've eliminated a lot of those people, even if they are family, because they're not doing any good for me. Right. And I don't need the holiday relative. Where you get together and then you're like, oh, that person's going to be there. I hope I get through the evening. I've just eliminated all of that. And yeah, like you said, you make new family. You get to pick people that support you. And if they can't support you, I think I just listened to a motivational speaker that said, go through your contact list, really go through your contact list. And those people that aren't there for you and they don't make you feel safe, you need to delete them out of your life. That's it. And that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. See, and this is what I think the issue is. A lot of people feel because they're family that you have to hold them at a higher regard than friends. And that's not what I choose to do, because, you have more tolerance because they're family. We're family. So, some of you may know my innermost secrets, my skeletons in the closet. And you're either using that against me or the behavior against me. And you're thinking that I'm not going to cut you off. Look, I ain't got a problem doing that. Okay. Because I say we have 5 chapters in our life. And all of us ladies, we're in our 3rd chapter. What I believe, me personally, I'm not going to tolerate negativity. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it comes with a price tag. When I say the Lord has allowed me to just rip it open and just not tolerate, I give you love, and I give love every day. Some days I may give but I still give love, but it may be So what I'm saying is, why you can't give that back to me? And if you can't give it back to me, at least give me respect. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not tolerating the foolery. Well, let me give some. Let me see. I think who was it? Deborah said, "Hi, I'm well. I'm learning from you guys." Aww. And let me tell you where each of these women stand in my life. And there's more, but they weren't on today. Nadine is driving from Virginia up to Georgia, which is where I am. And Sabrina, she's attending to something. So Adina is the doctor of my group, okay? Because you heard when she was quoting, psychology and what they were doing. Zena, I'm telling y'all now, Zena is the one who has the common sense, right? She's the one when I want to do something, Zena's like, well, logically and statistic, and she's the analytical person, okay?
I got the bail money.
She got the bail money, right? She got the bail money. T now is the one, if I'm burying the body, she's the one I'm calling. She gonna help me bury it. She gonna burn it. She gonna 1, 2, 3, Jackie, it never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. We did not do that. She's the ride or die. Okay. Adina's too scared because she'll split. Zena would be like, oh.
That's why she got the bail money. At least she had the bail money.
I got the bail money. I got you.
Girl, you're just underestimating people. You're underestimating. That's okay. Keep underestimating me. I'm all right with that.
But see, by the time we get out of jail, Zena be so flabbergasted that we gonna have to slap her into give us the doggone money. Because Zena. And I'm saying Zena's going to analyze it, why did she do it? How did she do it? What time did it take for her to do it? What did he do for her to do it? She don't go through all of that. Adina now is going to let me see if that chemical compound. and what bullet did she use? Nope, that bullet cannot do that. There's no way. Let me get the gunpowder. So that's what Tina is. Tina ain't got no sense. I'll be going on the 11th floor saying I'm gonna jump because I don't need a parachute. She's gonna say, "Go, girl, go ahead."
No,
but she gonna come with me though. She gonna come with me.
All right, safety first. Let's go.
That's right. Like a really bad episode to set it off, okay?
Safety first. Let's go.
Well, no, girl.
Now listen, so when I'm going through something, I know which one of y'all will call. If I want the common sense with the angel on my shoulder, I'm gonna call Zena. If I want the person who gonna think about it and okay, let me see the chemical stuff, I'm gonna call it Zena. Hell, I don't even want to show her my lipstick.
What is that? A red dye in there.
Oh my God.
Let me get back to the topic because we have the show, right? I'm telling y'all, my girlfriends are crazy. So Pamela said, family that you choose is sometimes better than bloodlines. Girl, you ain't never lied. Snap. And this is what I say family is who you create. Relatives are DNA. That's what I say. So you can create a family. T, I'm not gonna tell you again that when you get up when we're doing the show, that's disrespectful. Do I gotta do the etiquette stuff? See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm telling y'all just act.
Sorry, that will not happen again. I apologize.
You said that last time. You said that last time we did the show. Yes.
I apologize.
Ali.
You see, I did the church finger, right?
So, okay. So let me ask you a question. And let me put this out there. Let's say you have someone in your family and, they wreak havoc in the family. And you can't find yourself to even have that conversation with them because they're just ignorant. How do you reconcile this? Because
there is no reconciling. See you later. That's it. That make it even better.
Are we talking about like dysfunctional, like they have addictions? Because that's a whole other like enabling and trying to be.
It's a bad behavior.
But see, that's also an addiction because if you're a narcissist, and let's face it, these people are narcissists, right? So I don't never understand because we have one in my family. I mean, we have a couple in the family, but but no, seriously, and it's not even bad mouth in them. It's just I don't understand why people are like, well, that's how she is, and they don't want to hear her mouth because if they do, it's going to be a big problem. And and then they have to sit down and discuss with other family members why they're even talking to you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why we have this generational thing. We have YouTube, we have therapy. Why are we still in that generational shift where we don't want to change that mindset?
Because people are afraid to jump in and make the changes. They feel it's too much work, it's too much energy. They don't want to make the time to do it. But if it's not addressed, then it continues to grow and grow and grow until you got a big monster that nobody could defeat. It just destroys the whole bunch.
Well, the thing
it was never addressed. It went, as I find that they were probably never addressed as a kid. It was like, oh, just leave him alone. That's the way he is. He's the one that's throwing the plate when he's 5 years old, and it's like, it's okay, let him do what he has to do. And then he's the 16-year-old that's getting pulled over by the cops, and he's the one that's in trouble and just creating havoc in the family. And there's you can't reel them in then. And then if they hit into their 30s, then you're just dealing with that constant volcano exploding. You're just waiting for that person, like leave him alone, please don't say anything. You know how he is. Just say okay, just make up. And I don't like that guilt thing, that be the bigger person. Like, just be the bigger person. I was brought up like that, and I don't want to be the bigger person anymore. This person doesn't keep in touch with me. Why do I have to make the call? Why? Oh, but you know how it is. What is that?
Like what? But also, to kind of piggyback off of what Jackie was saying too, a lot of people don't believe in therapy.
Right. especially
right?
Black people.
You know, in the Black population specifically, we don't believe in therapy, right? Because all of a sudden you go to a therapist, oh, there's something wrong with you with wanting to change a pattern, right?
Right.
So that's a major issue too, because a lot of times you have to end up killing the monster in which you created, right? So it depends. As far as for me personally, let's say if there's something that someone does to me that I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you, and I'll address it with you, let you know. But moving forward, if I don't see that there's any change in how you deal with me specifically, because I can't sit there and try to save the world and be concerned with how you deal with people as a collective. But for me specifically, I'm gonna sit there and say, look, I don't appreciate that you said so and so or you did something. And if I don't see that you take steps or strides to rectify it, then I'm done. You know?
And you know what? And I'll share something because I'm transparent because my family already cut me off, so it's all good. It's all good. So, like, I have an issue with my sister, a horrible issue. And when I talk to my oldest brother, he's one of those like, well, I didn't know this happened. You know, when everybody knew what was going on, because if anything, if everyone knows, I'm very verbal. She's the one that, you know, and I'll put it out there, she tried to sell my virginity.
Oh my God.
And it was a horrible situation. Yes, Zena, you could blink. And it was a horrible.
I can blink too.
Yeah, you could blink. It was a horrible situation. And it was one point, Miss T. Miss T. Okay, when I'm telling my story,
I'm so sorry.
I don't need no distractions, okay? Let them know you're live on the air, okay? All right. So, you know, so it was horrible. And then, you know, my brother and I, we talked about it. And of course, he said he didn't know this, he didn't know that, he didn't know. He was going on and on and on. When I am very vocal, because I'll tell this one and that one, this is what's going on. And she was acting really hateful towards me growing up, because I was my father's last daughter, the last girl, and I didn't have a mother. He was the one who raised me. So I think she thought that took away from her. But that's not my issue. That's her issue with my dad. But it's like she's done so many horrible things, and her daughters are like not with her at all. They want really not much to do with her. And I used to pound my head on the wall, like, why don't y'all see what she's doing? Why don't y'all see what she's doing? Y'all making excuses because me and my generation, we're going to shun you until you get yourself together. No one in the family should be talking to you until you get yourself together. Mm-hmm. So because of that and other issues that I've gone through, my name is Jacqueline Charles. The things that I'm about to be saying is the truth. I have sought therapy. Therapy is not a bad thing. Therapy has kept me sane. Therapy has kept me from not committing suicide. Therapy has made me the person that I am.
Wow.
Put that out.
So you gotta address the issue. You gotta tell the truth to shame the devil. If you don't take your if you don't put yourself first and address whatever issues that you know is making you feel uncomfortable, that's making you feel like you're not bugging out, and take a look in a back view to look at the overall situation, because people will try to shame you and make you believe that is you who are the problem, is you who do this, and they won't own up to their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So unless you say, no, this is not right, this is not feeling well to me, my body is reacting to it, it's time for me to walk away. You got to take the initiative and walk away. A person who's harming you and hurting you and they're getting away with it, they're not going to walk away and leave. You know what I'm saying? They stay in there for the long haul until you get rid of them.
But I want you guys to understand that I did. And by the way, I'm okay now because so this is not a therapy session. I'm just letting y'all know. At least y'all would be cheaper, but no. Basically was I did reach out to her and say, okay, I'm grown. Let's have a conversation. We can have a relationship. I blocked her out of my life. And I said, we can have a relationship. But she wanted to, but I said, well, we got to talk about the past. Because I'm one of them chicks. Let's talk about the past in order before we can have a relationship. And she didn't want to talk about exactly. She didn't want to do that. So because she didn't want to do that, I can't get with you. You know what I'm saying? I see you on the other side. I'll give you some water while you're burning down in there. I'll send you some water, but you know.
But you healed, Jackie, because you forgave her and you released yourself of that bondage of someone else's mess.
I did.
But also too, too, you have to understand that if you don't forgive someone, you render them to control you, and you can't continue to prosper and to flourish
Right.
who it is that you're supposed to fully become unless you release it. So if people want to stay stuck, let them stay stuck. But it's all about the progression and the
Well, I wish I had known that, because it was manifesting into illness in my body, my heart chakra, my throat chakra. I'm like, I can't, I felt like I was choking. And when you said her name, or if I saw shows with sisters, I couldn't deal with it. I just wanted to go crazy. So for me, I then said, okay, I don't need that. And then my other sisters followed her, because there's 4 girls. And I'm like, I can't be dealing with them either, because I can't deal with them shenanigans. Because I can't keep going to jail if I act on what I want to do. It's not because I don't look good with my hair cornbraided and cornbraided back. And that shade of orange does not look good on me. So I can't do it.
Jackie, I went to therapy for family members, because I felt like I thought I was going crazy at one point in my life. I really did. And it was, it was to the point where I sought counseling. Like they actually convinced me to go to counseling, that something was wrong with me.
Right.
And I sat in this chair, and there was one, and I'm not even kidding. This woman said, I can't take your money anymore. I said, oh, well, here we go. She's going to tell me you're crazy. And she said, I have to tell you something. I'm like, here it goes. I'm crazy. And she said, they just don't like you. There's nothing wrong with you. I cannot take your money. You need to just let them all go. Because I did this and I did that, and they still don't, I don't understand. What am I doing? And she would just sit there week after week, and she just said, I can't do this anymore to you. There is nothing wrong with you. They don't like you. That's it. They don't like what you're about.
Wow.
They just don't like you. And I said, I knew it. I knew I wasn't crazy. That's all I kept saying. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't crazy. But, and it's that thing that, you just want to be pleasing, and like, why don't you like me? Why are you going out of your way to hurt me? And you keep trying, and that whole thing, like, don't, it's just the way they are. Let them go, let them be, like, no.
And I think my issues way back in the day, not liking women because of the women in the family. But then I started to realize, because you're right, Adina, it's like you're looking for validation. Like, I'm a cool chick. What you mean you don't like me? People who don't even know me like you like me. So what's the deal? So then I realized, and I'm glad you say that, Adina, it's not me, it's them. You're not going to make your issues my issues. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a while. I wish I had known back then, like what Zena said, basically about, when she mentioned that last bit about, I can't remember right now. I'm having a old age brain fart right now. But basically it boils down to, a couple of things that she said. It's not, we let these people get away with it. So I didn't want, when I ever had to talk to someone or a therapist, to say, for someone to say, well, did you talk to her? I wanted to make sure I wrote letters. I did everything. And now I'm seeing her daughters want nothing to do with her, and I'm seeing that empty, and it doesn't, trust me, guys, it does not make me feel good at all. It doesn't, because I'm like, this is your mom, but it is what it is, and there isn't nothing for me to do about it. I can just only pray on it. So, ladies, we're going to go on to the next topic. Why is it important for us to make sure our mental and our spiritual health stays on a positive energy, positive vibes? Especially now with 9/11, that's going to be the next topic, especially with the coronavirus. Why is it important that we really be intentional on our mental? Because I think we're all worried about the food, the this, the that we're all going to come out of this with PTSD, whether people believe this or not.
Absolutely.
So, Adina,
PTSD, what you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Adina, what do you think about this? How important do you think?
I'm so happy you're saying this, because you guys have been like a lifesaver for me. Like the texts that we've been having the past couple of days, trying to figure out how to just get to like the next level of all of this that we're doing, all this communication that we have going. I actually look forward to it. Excuse me. And
Want some water? Want some water?
I gotta put my mic on.
Want some coconut water? Can't show you the coconut water because they're not sponsoring us, so they don't get that.
All right, I'm good. So I just feel that our mental stability is so fragile right now. And that you've gone out there and put that mask on, and there's that person, and you just want to strangle them because they don't have that mask on. You can't say nothing, and you've felt a rage that you've never felt before. With everything, and then you just add everything into it, and you just keep adding all the other stuff, and it's this when I get that text, and I see all those numbers, and I see who put us all together, and how I know this person, and the bigger picture, and all your lives that you're sharing with me, everything else doesn't matter. That's it. That's how I feel lately. It's an amazing feeling. I got up early this morning because I'm tired of Jackie beating us all and getting up early. So I got up at 5:15. She was probably up at 2. But anyway, I did my meditation. I did my day today. So it's very
okay. Now I want y'all to understand this, right? I'm talking about positivity, and this heifer gonna throw shade on me, okay? Shade on me on top of the positivity. So that's an oxymoron here. Okay,
it's a good thing.
Put you on blast.
Oh God.
Okay, Zena, your turn.
It's like anything. It's like anything else in life. We're always constantly being tested, right? And it's not a matter of what you do, but it's how you handle the situation. So for me personally, what I started to do from the very beginning that all of these different things started to happen, I said, well, how can I potentially be a better person coming out of the situation, whatever this new normal is going to be, versus who I was going in? So I started to, I have an older brother who does a workout session every morning on Zoom. So I started to do that. I did a 40-day cleanse where I, was very, very careful as far as what I ate. But not only was it things that I was feeding my body that I was able to ingest, but also the whole thing with people and the energy and how can I potentially move forward to be the best person that I can be. And if I don't necessarily have the ability to invest in myself, how can I invest in anybody else at the end of the day? So,
right.
The text every morning, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, don't just go to sleep. Yes. But the thing is that it gives you something to look forward to, because being confined in the house, I wouldn't consider myself to be a germaphobe, but once again, when it's hot outside, I don't want this thing on my face. And
right.
to deal with people and the crowds, and you're rushing and you're sweating and everything else. Who wants to deal with that? So it's easier to stay home. But then when you're home, you're lacking the socialization and the interaction that you would usually get, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because people, whether you have a good experience with someone or if you interact with someone that gets on your nerve, it's still an interaction that you could sit there and learn something with. So when you're in the house by yourself all the time, it's kind of like, well, maybe if I have a conversation, hopefully I don't sit there and answer myself back, So
I do that anyway.
It's okay.
But it's like it's important to break up the day with different things that are able to stimulate you in different ways, whether it's, by listening to music or having a crazy TikTok video sent to you, or, just picking up the phone call and having a conversation with someone. It just makes a difference. And it's all important.
Well, I think Adina and I can say we're addicted to TikTok. Okay,
Yes,
TikTok has saved me, and I
saved
have
me.
so many people now that are following me, and I don't have one TikTok, so I got something for them. I got a little WAP dance that I'm gonna be doing for them. Okay, so
I can't.
WAP. Okay, I, wife association. I'm trying to see if I can rename it, but anyway, for me, what has helped me is my crystals. It's very important because I'm an empath and I'm feeling other people's energy. I get sick if someone negative is in the room. And, I went through a bad experience last Monday where it was horrible. And, what I've learned to do now is to be positive. Now, I don't mean to be fake positive. I'm talking about just to be positive because positivity is an intention. I don't want to be happy. I want to be joy. I want to be joyful. I want to have peace. Happiness is to me a journey. Joy is a destination. So that's why I find positive TikTok videos. People are saying, well, oh my God, I hate you, Facebook, because I'm getting negativity. I'm like, I don't have negativity on my page because people know, and it's all about positivity. So for me, I've chosen to now meditate. I've chosen to walk when I can walk. I've chosen to, I'm going to get back into yoga, but I go to salt cave therapy, inhale the Himalayan salt. And I'm telling you, watch old shows like last week I lost a bet with my husband. I had to watch Baywatch. Of all shows, I had to watch Baywatch. But you know what? No lie. Mitch was the thing for me back in the day. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with that. So Christina Funk said I do that on a regular basis. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm learning now. And here's the thing that T has taught me that I'm working on, because I know three of my friends, they do this on every Sunday at 3:00. And I was included in it, but I got so wrapped up, I stopped doing it. I'm going back to taking naps. Naps are my friend. Naps, I do Nidra yoga. And when I do Nidra meditation, you can do it for 20 minutes and you feel like you've slept for like 3 or 4 hours. So naps now I'm going to incorporate in my schedule. Let my people know that, my interns and stuff know, like, look, mama needs to sleep for at least 45 minutes. Now, because if you think and I think it's because I don't sleep enough, that's why I'm so hyper. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. But I don't, that's a lie. I'm always hyped. So I don't even know I'm lying about that. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm cleansing, like Zena, I'm cleansing my system. I'm doing all of that stuff. I'm eating cleaner foods, less processed, because there's vegan processed food. I'm cooking more now. I'm just enjoying Jackie because I'm like, damn, I wouldn't marry you. I would just side chick you. You know what I'm saying? Because of my personality. You'd just be the side chick. You would be, I'd still give you wifely status, but you'd be side chick. Okay. So I know me. I can't deal with this 24 hours. So I don't know how my husband does it, but he does it. Don't know. So he deserves a special award. So for me, and plus I love we're texting each other, and T is giving us the knowledge. Adina is sending us Spanish stuff. Zena is like sending us analytical stuff, and like, see, I'm careful when I send stuff because I think Zena's like, there's no way the cow can cross the street in that many minutes. So I'm very careful. You know how you have the people who the people who check your grammar, those people, which I don't bother with anymore. Zena, I'm nervous when I'm sending something because I'm like, does this make sense? God. It don't have to make sense, but let me make sure it makes sense. I'll be changing the joke and everything. That's how Zena messed me up. Okay, so now T, what do you do?
Well, I started working out, so I go 3 times a week. And then I started doing a little bit in my house. There's a new app too, but I be missing the one that Zena sent me because it conflicts with the days that I do be out working out with my trainer. But peace of mind, letting go of people who didn't need to be a part of my space anymore, who serve their purpose. And sometimes we hold on to people that shouldn't be in our space for a certain amount of time, that can cause us to have a imbalance that goes on. Releasing myself of those things have allowed me to have, peace peace be still time to reflect on what I truly want to do, who I truly am, what really works, what really don't work. When we are on the hustle and bustle that society has, how can I put it, has they have how can I, what's the word I'm looking for? They have trained us to be on this hump on a daily 1, 2, 3. You go
The grind, yeah.
the grind. So when we are on the hump and bump, we can't really pay attention to what's really real in our true reality, which is where you go sleep, where you go spend majority of your evening and overnights at, where it's very valuable, important to have that sanctuary to go home to. Sometimes we don't have it and we fake it till we make it, like the same way with the family dynamics, But when you truly have that time to sit still, you're able to have more clarity and get rid of all the outside space that don't necessarily or should not be a part of our personal space. You know what I mean? We need to put more into that time than the hustle and bustle, because rich people, they don't put time into the hustle and bustle like we the rat race. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. I chose to take this time to continue with my health so that I could be better at whatever it is I'm going to take part in my next journey. You know what I mean?
I like that you're saying that, because it's almost like to hear that we've been programmed to grind.
Yes, that's the word. Yes.
And that's all we do. And I feel like if we can disconnect, and I feel like everything that we're capable of will happen. But since we're grinding so much and we've been taught to just do that, we've lost ourselves and all the magic that we have and all our creativity, and we're just stuck in this. And now I almost look at this as a major opportunity to reinvent myself. Right. And, we've had this opportunity, this platform, thanks to Jackie, to express that. And we're not alone. There are people out there that feel exactly like we do. Like, wow, I'm really finding myself. I'm really finding what I want to do. And
some people was having anxiety about being home because they so programmed to the hustle and bustle that they're having panic attacks to really be home.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were. And I wonder where they're at now, what they're doing. Because we're still here. We're still trying to get back to what? What are we trying to get back to? We want to go back to that kind of a living, or are we trying to create a new life for ourselves? That is very unexpected for, certain people on certain tiers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they don't like this because they're not in control of us anymore. We see how entrepreneurs, and we're okay. We're making it. We're all right.
Because we're used to making it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So for those who are on the bottom tier, this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, because you've perfected it. And when you know how to make it work. You know how to, if you have $50, how much rice, beans, and whatever you have to stretch. Where some who they only have $50,000 and they're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And all that kind of stuff. I have said, I think for the last, I'll say 6 years, people don't understand the Matrix and the Terminator means so much to me. For me, and it's a spiritual thing. So for me, I've unplugged out of the Matrix for maybe 5 years. Well, what I did was I discontinued. No, I unplugged from the Matrix. And then I went back in. And then I said, Jackie, you're going to have to cut that you're going to have to cut the cord. Okay, cut it. Because when the cord is cut, you can't put electrical tape on it if you cut it the way you need to cut it. So that's what I've chosen to do. So I'm no longer in the Matrix. I'm watching people who are in the Matrix who are losing their minds. Right. Like they just don't know how to cope, whether it's, oh my God, my kid now has to be home with me. What am I going to do? And these are the same kids when the teacher was calling you and telling you that your child won't sit down, your child is misbehaving, you're yelling at the teacher, you're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You only get to see your child. Let's face it, you work, most people between commuting time, 10 to 13 hours a day. So when you come home, your child's already tired and exhausted. So you get the smidgen of their behavior. So now you get to see their behavior. And I'm challenging people to go out there Send an email, send some doggone flowers to these teachers that are in the schools that you were saying that, oh no, not my child, not my child. So we have to figure out a way of how to, and what I want people to take away from this, if you don't know how to, ask. The information is out there. Ask. It's,
tight lips don't get fed, all right?
Thank you. So ask people and don't look at it as being weak. And if you need therapy, seek therapy, because my therapist has told me that she cannot take on any more clients now. And her clients are all related to COVID, not just family dying of COVID, but because they're home and they're confined, divorce rates have gone up, domestic abuse have gone up. It's just crazy. And you get to see now with your children, because this one lady called me, she's like, Jackie, I don't like my children. Wow. I said, and I think I said this before, I said, neither do I. Okay? So he was like, Dina, I had to tell her the truth.
I just say something. I challenge every mother who's at home with their children to take a look around to see what's really important. Is it chasing that dollar bill or rearing our future? Because our future is bleak because these children don't have the rearing anymore. You know what I mean? The teachers cannot train your children to be good human beings. They're only there with them to give them some information that they may not even use when they leave the school. You get what I'm saying? But it's to be retained for certain things. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that the first teacher is the mom. And we don't lost that space because everybody want to be so independent. You get what I'm saying? The independence, we lost a lot out of the Independent Act. Not saying that you have independence, meaning that because you taking care of your children that you can't work and do what you got to do. It's all about being sacrificial. When you have a child, there's nothing you won't do for them. So you will make time for that instead of making time to be with the girls or to be with some nigga who can't do nothing for you. But that's just the real of how it is. Put your pussy on lock. Excuse me.
Okay.
On lock and pay attention to the children that you popped out of that.
Okay.
That's what I challenge them to.
I didn't see that one time. You see what? Listen. Wait. Cardi B, you don't see what you done did for my show. Cardi B.
My apologies.
With that number one song, you done see what you done did.
That's what we need to talk about.
Wait. Wait, Pamela. Absolutely. Ali said, all right. Pamela said, right. Ali said, true. Valerie said, 100%. Ali said, right. Children are suffering. And Pamela said, okay.
Sorry. And we passionate. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's I'm sorry. But I love you all. I love
Deborah says so true. With the pandemic, a lot of truths are being uncovered. You now have to be still and address the home issues. Here's the issue that I have as well. These children should come out smarter than us. And what I mean by that is,
good luck.
As a parent, you should not be teaching them about Christopher Columbus.
Right.
Okay. So they should be more versed in history than we were. The Plymouth Rock, and it wasn't who was truly discovered, America, who was here first, what the Asians did with the railroad, what Black America has done. So I don't want to, and that's why I challenge my kids. I don't want to hear when we're doing Black History Month, or I'm giving you a book report to do, you're talking about Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. No. Do you know how many things we've invented? Let's go there. And then the parents are telling me, well, what should I do? So we have to address that. We have to address this. We have to
find out.
Huh? What'd you say?
Google it. There's too many ways to find out. Knowledge and power is infinite on the internet right now. Seek and you shall find. There's no excuses. If you don't know, like Jackie said, ask somebody. Call someone who you know is conscious to ask them what site should I go on to find out about history. So this is the time, not no buffoonery, no cartoons that's been training our children to be class clowns and idiots. Okay.
Well, Jackie, I love TikTok, and it has an algorithm. The ones that you decide to click on, is what they'll eventually send you. And I think that a lot of the stuff that I've gotten is a lot of kids are really coming out with all the history, you know, and putting it out there. And what I found myself doing is, especially with the Hispanic history, is going and reading up on that. I mean, I'm having kids teach me things that I didn't know, and I love it. And that's like you're saying, like we need to start relearning everything that we were taught, because it's incorrect.
I suggest the children, sorry to cut you off, watch Hamilton. Hamilton is an awesome play. That's
love it.
They can understand what took place at that time and why he's important. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because really about Hamilton. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you got Disney Plus. You should be sitting your ass down instead of watching Beyonce. And Beyonce and King should be on the list too, but watch that as well. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate
T. We playing this on don't stick your lip up. We're playing on this and on YouTube.
Okay.
So far, I've gotten 4 strikes from YouTube, so I'm sure they're gonna kick me out because I think you get 4 strikes. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So it is what it is. No. You know, when they like ban you, put you in jail, or tell you never to come back on YouTube again. You know, one of those things. But I just wanted to share that with you. That's all. Don't worry about it. Just wanted to share that with you. But I think now is the time, because you know I see the friends who are teachers in kindergarten, and these kids go to school. They don't know their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and I'm like, how do your child not? The first thing when you're off to school, your address. What's your address? I don't know. But you're giving them, and I don't understand, how are you giving a child who's under 13 an iPhone? Again, I'm not here judging, and I'm hearing, well, something can happen to them. Nothing happened to us. And I don't care what anyone says, the same amount of rapes and all that stuff and indiscretions that happened when we were younger that are happening now. It's happened when we were younger.
Right.
It hasn't gone up. It's just because now we have the iPhones, we can videotape things. And I'm talking about kids who they're bad butt kids and they have the latest technology. I'm not talking about kids who they're doing well in school and they just ask for iPhone. It's not a big deal. It's not like they're asking for Jordans. We're not going to go there, okay? Because that just triggers me with the Jordans. And, so I get that. But the bad butt kids who are out there, they're getting, some of these kids' phones are better than mine. I think they're on the plus or whatever it's called. When I was on the 4, they were on the 7. And I'm like, dang, and
the Joneses.
Exactly. And it doesn't make sense, because I'd rather have no furniture in the house and your child has the knowledge, because one of my shows, I'm going to be interviewing a guy. He's a young man. He's 13 years old. When he was 8, Forbes wrote him up on he's a day trader, 13 years old, and he's a day trader. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So his mother's a single mom, 3 kids, and she made it happen. So I don't understand where we went wrong, and I'm going to use the word wrong because I've seen some kids, they can sing that Cardi B, they can do the bounce. And when you ask them spell that, what does that mean? They can't spell it because, it's, and that amazes me. But if you put on a Frankie Beverly and the Maze, they're like, what's that? Kids don't even, parents are not teaching their children history, because majority of the rappers that are now who are horrible, okay, not all of them, but majority of them are horrible. They've sampled they've sampled music, and when you talk to the young kids, oh no, this is the original.
Right.
And there's no originality anymore.
No.
Everything is a remake of a remake.
Right. They don't hear good music. They don't hear good music. Remember back in the day, you grew up hearing good music. Your parents was playing the good music. Now it's none of that. It's bobblehead stuff that's confusion to have these kids confused. They don't know what they want to do. They don't want to listen to you, but they listen to outsiders. Everything is all backwards and reverse. You know what I mean? I don't play that. I play good tone. My daughter played what I used to play. My son played what I used to play. He got some new stuff, but he mostly listens. I hear that they listen to what I was listening to, like some Mary, some good R&B. You know what I mean? So the ones that had that the tone that kept you a little bit more conscious.
Right.
Right, and I mix it up. I mix it up for me because I'll listen to that, and then I'll listen to a Cardi B. I'll listen to, there's rappers. I listen to the Commons. So I think I have a good mixture between ratchet all the way down to, like bluegrass and all that kind of stuff. So I think
You like the Cash Money now too. Cash dolls.
Okay. Okay. All right. I thought she was gonna say City Girls because it sounded like the way she was talking. Thank you.
That's what I'm like.
Okay, I'm like, yeah.
I won't say the word.
Yeah, Deborah said these parents are not parenting. They want to be friends. They want to wear the same clothes. They want to say, "That's my best friend." When I see these moms saying, "Oh, she's
My
sick,"
bestie.
that's my best friend. How
No,
is that
that's my best period.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, so I want everyone to know these women are instrumental to my life. We're all from New York. We're all from the boogie down Brooklyn. I'm not gonna say Bronx because Bronx don't exist. Okay, y'all can hate me on that. You know it ain't gonna hurt that part. Brooklyn, I'm sorry. Brooklyn is one of the best boroughs in New York. Let's face it. Everything, majority of the celebrities are from Brooklyn, from Barbra Streisand. I think I did a study on that, and we would have, let's say, for example, 600 celebrity singer or whatever, and all the other boroughs. Bronx, maybe 4, 2. I don't know. Depends if you can. No, I'm not going to even go there. But anyway.
And forget about Staten Island.
What?
Don't you talk about Staten Island with the
No, Staten Island.
What was that? What was it called? What do we call that? Who wants to say it? The dump?
Oh, yeah, it was like Jersey.
The dump? Who's going to the dump? Who goes to the dump?
Pay forever. Woo. That's the only thing I'm repping.
That's the only thing that's there.
If that's the case, if that's the case, you had old dirty bastards. So I don't know if you want to. I'll represent some of them.
Oh, that's
some of them.
We connected.
Yeah, but he moved over there. Okay, so I want to bring this to talk about 9/11. Do you think New York has changed since 9/11, good or bad? And how has 9/11 personally impacted your life? Let's start with Zena.
Well, New York is no longer the New York that we knew it to be. Between 9/11, that changed things drastically, of course, given the situation. And now, even with COVID now, it's like a lot of people's livelihood is in jeopardy because of the mere fact that so many businesses are closing. I was reading an article yesterday, and they were talking about the Upper West Side, how what they've done is a lot of the homeless, they ended up placing them in hotels on the Upper West Side. So now what's happening is between the mental illness, because they're dealing with a lot of people that are mentally ill, people sleeping in the street, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of prostitution and things like that now. So people are moving away. So what does that mean? Even today I was talking with a very dear friend of mine, and we were saying, even with the restaurant industry now, I mean, now because the weather is nice, they have the ability to have the little outside, eat out to the curbside eating and things like that. But once the weather gets cold and we start to go into the winter season, what are those restaurants going to do? Because they're not going to be able to survive unless they delivery service or pickup, even for that matter. So 9/11 was the beginning of something that now has developed into something that's much bigger than what we all could have ever possibly imagined. And it's going to be interesting to see moving forward how that develops, because I mean, we've experienced a lot of unemployment thus far, and we're going to continue to see a lot of unemployment, even with the post office. I mean, look with the new election coming up, that's a major issue too. And even as far as people's ability to have the freedom to vote, something that our forefathers fought for us to be able to freely be able to vote. I mean, even that is in jeopardy because the mail service no longer has sorting machines. So they have people that are manually sorting mail. So how does that affect the upcoming election with the ballots and things like that? And then you have people that are relying on the mail service for medication, or we have a lot of people that are not necessarily technology savvy, so they do a lot of their banking by hand. You go to a bank and the lines are up the block and everything is a line, right? So it's again, it's interesting to see how things are going to develop. And to kind of piggyback off of what we were saying as far as our mental state, at least right now, because the summer we have the ability to get out a little bit more. But what is the PTSD levels and therapy and all of that going to really, really look like when it starts to get dark at 4 o'clock in the evening and you can't go out, or because it's too cold, or if it's snowing? It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it affects the family dynamic, but also how it just affects people as a whole, because it's just a whole lot of, it's kind of like being in a fight and you're trying to take the punches that are coming in and you're sitting there, you're blocking and everything else. But no matter how much you block, you're still really getting really beat up. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops.
T?
I don't want to sound kind of harsh like that, but
be yourself. Just censor the cursing.
It didn't affect me either way. You know, I mean, it was sad that people had died in the process, but it's so many things that we've been going through before 9/11 and still going through after 9/11. So it really didn't affect me, good or bad. You get what I'm saying? If anything, things got worse to me. It got worse because once the 9/11 hit, that's what made the security and the police officers become more brutal to our people on the streets, especially our young Black males. You know what I mean? So it did not affect us in a positive way. It just made them make us more more candidates for them to stop and frisk and all this other stuff that they started to do on the streets of Brooklyn with our young Black men, just random, you know, and we wasn't even part of the terrorist act, but because of that situation, that just made them become more brutal for us in the community.
Wow. I mean, I echo all your sentiments. New York is not the New York that I left, and I would come back and visit. And each time I would see the change. You know, people moving out. And then when Clinton moved into Harlem, Harlem was cute and it was called the New Harlem. You know, it took a Caucasian person to move into an area that has great historical references, you know, from Cab Calloway's to the Lena Horns, has wonderful references. And then somehow it took one person to make people want to appreciate it even more, you know, when we already appreciated that culture. So, I mean, you know, at that time and era, the Renaissance, look at my big word, y'all, Renaissance period. You know, it's like, it came back again when Bill Clinton moved to Harlem, you know, and we had Sharpton out there for so long, but it took him to get there so they can rename it the Renaissance and, you know, bring that back up. And it hurts me because New York was a community where what I loved about Brooklyn, I don't care where you are, your pizza was up the block. Your if you wanted Knish down the corner. In Georgia, it used to trip me out because everything is so segregated. If I want to go to Jewish community, we all know that we have you know, we have Borough Park and all that kind of stuff. We need Maimonides if we want to, but here it's totally different. If you want to go to a Jewish community or meet someone, you have to go drive clear across town, where you know you had your, you know, a Jewish store in your neighborhood, your Italian store, you know, your Indians. It was the culture. That's why I tell people New York is just the greatest place on earth, because that's why it's very rare you find us to be, and I'll say it, closed-minded, racist, or no, excuse me, prejudiced, because we lived and we have such a rich culture of the people that we lived around. That's why I don't have a problem getting my car and driving an hour to the Asian community, and they just love me because I respect them. We, you know, we were all around them, so we know, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I just love it, you know, going to the Indian community. And one time I said I went to India, I went to Jamaica, I went to Trinidad, and I went to I think I said I went to I can't remember the fourth place that I said. No, I went to Jerusalem. That's what I said. I went to Israel. That's what I said. So I just love, and I wear it on my badge. When people, I'm like, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. And they're like, well, you make the other boroughs sound like it's really bad. I said, because it is. Sorry. I used to see girls perpetrate and pretend that they were from Brooklyn. I'm like, girl, please. Name a place in Brooklyn. I be down here and I hear people's, well, I'm from Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn are you from? And they're like, Syracuse. I'm like, really? You know what? I was raised in Syracuse. I said, yes, Syracuse is not far from Long Island. No, I said, Syracuse is not far from Manhattan. And they're like, I know. And I'm like, man, that bus ride is like 5 minutes. And they're like, I know. And I'm like, yo, what I love about the travel between Syracuse and Manhattan, it's just, we just love each other. We just love each other. And I said, going to Syracuse. So finally I had to bust them out, but I had to do this whole little trip with them to let them know that they lying. I had to do it because I'm like, brother, don't be telling people that. It don't work. Don't do that. Right. But so I'm waiting to see what, the mayor and the governor is going to do in New York, because I would like New York to, I don't want to say go back to what it was, but I don't want to see New York being a place where everybody leaves, especially Brooklyn, because the high cost, Jay-Z and Beyonce came to Brooklyn and they changed everything. So rents are sky high. It's ridiculous,
Related actually too, because of the Barclays Center, everybody, Brooklyn is like the new Manhattan. Before, everybody wanted to be down Manhattan, down by Soho and all this stuff. Now Soho is really no more. Everything is coming to Brooklyn. Park Slope, we've got Williamsburg, everybody's over there. It's like they've been sussing the people who's been living there, made it the hot spot out of the area, and now these yuppies are moving in. So that's the real deal what's happening in Brooklyn, Jackie. They've been doing all this gentrifying because of the Barclays Center, and it didn't affect the community in a good way, because they started closing certain landmarks that's supposed to be there is no longer there. They putting up new stuff, so it's like they creating a new world. You understand what I'm saying?
So do you think Jay-Z? So do you think Jay-Z is a part of destroying Brooklyn?
Well, he signed off on it, but then he don't really have no parts of it. You get what I'm saying? So he benefited from it, but everybody else really didn't. They got jobs, but as far as the living arrangements, that sucks for people who had to move out because they couldn't afford the rent anymore.
Were you going to say, Zena?
No, I was saying, isn't that usually the case? It's always the money up front, and then whatever happens after.
But absolutely. So he's just about making money, about business. He's a hustler. So it's just a different game for the hustle. That's it. Now the people got hustled with his hustle.
Oh man, I want to say something so bad, but I can't. It's okay. It's okay. Because that Jay-Z right there, baby. Okay. Wait, let me light my candle, because I'm not trying to be canceled right now. Oh Lord, have mercy. Now, since we said that, we talked about I'm sorry, my mind's still on this Jay-Z guy. So what I want to ask you, we've gone through a lot going on. My mind is really, today I did the show and I'm like, I'm going to get to put on some lipstick and some stuff, but I'm going to be honest, my heart is full, y'all. I thought I was getting over Kobe. Now, my Wakanda forever, ever. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I have a picture and I put it on my page where this little boy has all these superheroes and he has Wakanda in the middle and he's doing Wakanda. He's on the floor like they're all, he's dead and they're all like, like his funeral and they're all bowing down. Yeah. And for me, when I say, you would think I know Chadwick, okay? Because so one of my friends wrote something on his page talking about, well, I didn't need Chadwick to die to know who I am. And I said, but you know what? You're lucky because you were raised by a mother and father who taught you about history, who taught you about Africa. You know a lot of stuff. Not everyone knows that. And you can't shame people because and you post that on your page. And I'm going to tell you, that's a form of arrogance on how you posted it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people didn't know about Africa being that rich in culture and, a lot of things. And that has taught a lot of people. And not only that, that movie wasn't a black movie. It was a movie for everyone to watch. It was a movie that brought cultures together where
Right.
people didn't feel threatened. Like, because I'm telling you, we were getting dressed up, wearing our la dashiki. And I'm talking about, look, I didn't get the bootleg dashiki from the store. I went to an African and got that dashiki, okay? And I'm like, just wanted to watch it because if you notice, that's what people were wearing when they were going to see Black Panther, and to see that this man, and I'm saying this to say, to see that this man had cancer for 4 years, maybe 5, and he knew he had to do Thurgood. He shoved so many movies, not shoved, excuse me. He completed so many movies in that time period where
Yeah.
he had to use his physical strength.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could do it, but he used his physical strength to make sure that he can complete this movie between Black Panther, The Avengers. I mean, those 2 movies alone. And then he did James Brown, okay, with all the dancing and stuff. Like today I was watching, he was on Black Panther. And I remember him saying that we're never going to do Black Panther 2 because I'm dead. And I'm realizing this guy was giving us little clues. Okay. He wasn't. When you watch some of the movies now, from James Brown to Black Panther, every single movie, he dropped clues if you listen to the stuff that he says during the interview it's like they wrote it in. And some of the people, they didn't know what was going on. And also, here's the greatest love that I love about him. He completed these movies so his family can be well taken care of when he was gone. Yes, and I don't know if people understand. I mean, he was getting paid good money, but he made sure that if I'm going to do it, I want to take care of my people, my family, and I need to do it. I need to do it. To leave chemo and talking to chemo patients, to leave chemo to actually do a movie and then come home and sometimes do surgery. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. T, what is your take on that?
I love Marvel Comics, and that's like the first Black character that they have. And what I appreciated about the movie is that it gave our young children a new sense of pride of being a part of a land that is prosperous, that's Black people, that's rich, that's something positive, instead of them always seeing something negative about us Black people. So what Wakanda, what the Black Panther movie did was allow our Black children to take a look into themselves, or to look to see what we can do if we're from these rich kings and queens and of this, this beautiful place. So to have pride in yourself of being Black. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them, they was giving out some information that was true, and a lot of it was false, but it opened the doorway for them to see what's the possibility. You know what I mean?
And what I loved about it, you had Barack Obama, who was the first Black president, and then you had the Wakanda. So I think it was 2 things. Yes. And I don't know if you saw when he did, I think it was the MTV Awards, when he gave away his award.
Yeah.
And people didn't understand why he was doing it, but he was starting to give away his possessions.
Yeah, he was
prior to going.
Everybody came across him. They said that he was such a beautiful person to be around. And all the cast members said that you would have never known. They didn't have no idea that he was sick, going through what he was going through.
And now
in lectures at the colleges, he was very selfless. He really was.
And the person who's really affected by this right now is Michael B. Jordan. They said he's inconsolable right now. Yeah. And I want to just say one thing before I bring Zena in to talk. He said when he was doing Black Panther, he went up to Angela Bassett and said to Angela Bassett, Angela, do you know that when you came up to Howard, I was your escort for the day. I was your chauffeur. I was the one driving you around. And that was like maybe 15 years ago. And she said, what? And she said, it was a nice guy. And he said, I was that guy. I
Wow.
was the guy driving. So you see how things come full circle.
Oh,
You know, they
wow.
talk about then there's a thing with Viola with Debbie Allen's sister, Felicia Rashad, where she said, Denzel, this guy needs money, and it turns out Denzel was the one who paid his tuition. And look how things come full. And I think at one point they did a show where Denzel was in the audience and they were talking, and Denzel was like, "Oh, that's the dude." It was like he had no
Yes, I see
idea,
that.
and it was just so. So Zena, you wanted to say, can you chime in on that?
That's what I was going to say, because Denzel Washington had paid his tuition to go to Europe to go to school.
Oh, wow.
But also when they showed Black Panther yesterday evening, at the end, he said that when he finally met Denzel, and Denzel said to him, "Oh, I think you owe me some money." Right? So it goes back to investing,
Paying it forward.
paying it forward. Right. It takes a village. It takes a village. Right.
And go ahead, Zena. I'm sorry.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that blood folk is not always kinfolk, as they say. So family, like Jackie said, at the top of the show when we first started, family is anything. Family is what you make of it, right? Relatives are through the bloodline, but family is whoever it is that you come in contact with that can feed into you. And you're able to not only receive what it is that they're saying, but also to them as well.
When we do the next show, we're going to go over some things with T. Because the editing is going to be, you can't be looking away. You can't be looking away. You can't be doing that. When the show starts at 8 o'clock, this show starts at 8 o'clock. You need to tell them the show starts at 8 o'clock.
I need a secret closet. Okay?
No. Everybody's grown. You need to tell them you're doing a show. They need to give you an hour and a half because it's distracting. And I'm like looking at you, and Zena's talking, and and then your glasses is glazing.
I trying to ignore my son just now.
Ignore him. No. Let them know the next time you guys get 3 weeks in the notice to do the show, because we got to respect the audience as well. Okay, so now, Adina, you're next.
Well, I was just going to say what Zena said, it takes a village. And I think that's what we've gotten away from. I think that would be wonderful if we can invest in our youth. Like Tahira was saying, we don't have that structure anymore that we need. And we're at the age where we're the women, the elders that need to start picking up and carrying that torch. And with Black Panther and Wakanda, I'm still not over that. I cried because when I just drove my son back up to school this weekend, and I said, did you hear about what happened to Chadwick? And he said, yeah. And I said, do you know that, no one knew he had cancer? And he goes, that's what a man does. That's how it should be. It's not to be spoken about. You just do what you got to do. And he did. And I stood silent. Like, I thought that he would be like, wow, he should have told people. No, what would be the point? He wasn't a man that would, wanted sympathy. And look what he accomplished. Look what he did. And that should be anyone that thinks that they can't, do anything, or that, I can't go any further. Look what he did in the amount of time that he knew he had. And that was borrowed time. That was definitely borrowed time that he had,
And God blessed him, because normally you don't last that long, 6 years. And I think for him, because whether he said it or not, it wouldn't have bothered me, because he was still doing, and of course he couldn't do it, because remember he's doing movies and they have to do insurance policies and stuff that. So for him to say, I have cancer, but I can do it, the studio wasn't going to invest that money. So I think that what he did was so classy. And again, even if he said he had it, I still would be supporting. But to see that what you said was right, because now it's like, oh, my leg hurt, I don't think I can get up and go to the gym. No, because I'm like, yo, you can't. there should be nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do. So it tells me his mindset. And because he kept doing what he was doing, maybe that's why he didn't succumb to the cancer, y'all. Because he had something to do, something to prove, help his family. So he had a purpose, he had a mission, and he had a purpose. So he's figuring out, let me do it. I'm telling you, the scene, and I said, as of last night, I'll never watch Black Panther ever again, or I'll watch it until a certain point. I can't watch the scene when he died, and and Angela Bassett is crying over him, and then it's like it's a resurrection. So think about it: when he died, and there was a resurrection, he was with his father, and he was just like. So I'm thinking about that now, like sleep, my prince. I mean, Kobe Bryant's death hit me hard, but this I didn't see coming. We didn't see Kobe's death coming either, but because he was this Black superhero, and he was so unassuming and so gentle. He was soft spoken. He got married. He surprised his fiance and married her. And that just tells me, if they were together for a while, but he's like, look, let's get this done, because people always try to put him with Napita. They always thought they would make a good couple together or something like that. And it's just amazing to see this man, that he's no longer here. He started something. And I think they said they were going to do a part 2, but with the girls being the lead or whatever. So, T, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say he still was young. Me and him the same age, 47. He still had a whole lot to do. But my thing is, that's why you're supposed to give people roses while they're living. And we all promise life and death in this world. So we have to accept it and respect it and understand that he's where he's supposed to be. He accomplished what he needed to accomplish, and we should just let him live on in that grace. You know what I mean? Instead of it being an empathetic thing about, oh, it's so sad. No, he lived his life how he was supposed to live it. So let's celebrate him in that, He
I'm still in my feelings. I'll try, but I'm still in my feelings, okay?
No, you're supposed to shed a tear. Yeah. Shed a tear and move on. Dust it off, move on.
What was sad,
blooded, not sound cold-blooded, but
what do they say? Leave the dead to the dead.
Right. Bury the dead. And
I muted her mic, y'all. Okay, go ahead.
You muted my mic?
I sure did. Okay, Zena, talk while her mic is muted. Go ahead.
What was sad is that as pictures started to surface of him losing so much weight, how people would judge him. That was sad too.
Yeah, because this is where my mind went. I said, "Oh my God, he's losing a lot of weight. Maybe he's losing weight for a role that he's doing." I wasn't like what the people were saying, like maybe he has this, maybe he has that. I was saying, and it would be easy for me to say because he's an actor. Tom Hanks has done it. So many people. Charlize Theron has done it. So that's what I was thinking. He was losing weight for a role, and then I was thinking, what role is he losing weight for? What role in history? Girl, and I'm here making these stories up in my mind. And I'm like going through roles historically. I'm like, is he playing a slave that ran away? Girl, I was doing my own stories. So it's amazing.
Because his low battery and the charges in Sapphire's room. Sorry.
You in the doghouse.
How about me taking her from the stream? How about that? How about that? How about that? Okay. You think I wasn't ready for one of y'all with y'all shenanigans? I was ready. Okay. I was ready. Shoot.
Okay,
baby, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So
stop playing with Jackie. You better stop playing,
girl. Don't let me put up. Look, I got my sound system that'll go dong, but I didn't want to razzle dazzle y'all today with the system, the music system I got here. So in closing, because this has just been so good to me. In closing, what jewels would you like to drop, Zena?
Use this time to come out of this whole situation, or come out of any life experience, good, better, and different, a better person than you were when you went in.
I like that. And Adina?
I think we need to stay fluid. I mean, every day is a new day. We wake up now, we have no idea what's going to happen. This is the first time you can honestly say, like, well, let's see what today's going to be like. So we have to stay fluid, just stay fluid, stay in the moment and enjoy all the good things that are being given to us that we are taking advantage of.
And for me, what I'd like to say is I want everyone to practice love. And if you don't know what love is, because some people think that, if he beats me, he loves me. You want someone to elevate. You need to be elevated to the highest form possible. You need to make sure that the gifts and the skills God has given you, that you're using it. We're not going to be here much longer. We don't know 5, 10, 20. We have no idea. So we need to make sure that we're living our dream. The worst thing that can happen, you tried and you failed, but it's not really failure. It's an education, and you can try another way. If someone locks the door for you, go through the roof. If you can't go through the roof, crash through the windows. Make your own destiny. Because like I tell people, I don't look at the glass as half full or half empty. I look at it as, give me the damn water and I'll put it in the glass. You're not going to tell me what's half full, what's half empty. My destiny is just give me the water and I'll fill it myself. So I just want us to love on each other. I want us to support. I got some sense. See, I've been around y'all long enough. I got some sense. You, Adina, and Tia. I got some sense now. So I want us to just love each other, support each other, have fun. At the end of the day, invest with each other, and just love each other. Because I think once we do that, all the hate crimes, the race crimes, the bullying, the sexual, things that go, sex trafficking, all that stuff will go away if we learn to love each other and listen. We got to listen, because I need to know if you want me to love you, how should I love you? Tell me how to love you. Let me not use what I think on how I should love you. And my problem child, T. Okay.
I just want you to relax, elevate your mind and relax. If you elevate your mind with the time, you'll be all right. If you do other than that, don't expect to be all right. But you got to elevate your mind within the time. Peace and love. I love all my peoples.
Wow, I thought she was about to rap. I really did. She was doing the Wu-Tang thing.
What are you saying? God is saying.
Yeah. You want her to sing? Yes.
Relax, and elevate your mind.
Ooh, smooth.
I'll be gassing up anymore. Yeah. She need to do a duet.
Come out really.
Ooh.
SWB, but I caught the vapors.
Ooh, okay. Okay, we're gonna talk after to see what you've been doing, okay? Because I know it got something to do with it was something you were drinking. Okay,
no, I was too judgmental when I was younger.
Oh, and that has changed how?
Well, I was on point. I was on point.
Yeah.
I was on point with that. It was true. I was on point with what I was thinking.
Right. And I think
secrets, let me say.
I think and it's so great to see, because today's my Brooklyn night. We got to do a Brooklyn night, get 2 more people to do a Brooklyn night and just talk about things that we miss, the foods, things that we like to do. Let's get the music. When did you first fall in love with hip hop? Stuff like that. Things,
the block parties.
Yes. With the fire hydrant. See, I didn't know about that too, because my sister lived in the 50s, and I would see them with the cans. I'm like, what they doing? Because we didn't do that on Nostrand Avenue. And I don't remember that.
We did it in Bushwick.
Well, I said, and I'm like, I didn't remember that on Nostrand Avenue. Was there a fire hydrant on Nostrand Avenue? Was there really? I'm like,
they used to do it on the corners and mostly on the blocks. The blocks that the blocks without not the main street, but the side blocks. Do that a lot too.
East 40th. We did it on East 40th when we had a block party.
Wow. See, and my first block party was at my sister's in the 50s, and they would have the Jamaican block parties. And I remember the Smurf, honey. That was I'm like, wow, love come down. You make my love come down. I'm like, yes.
Oh, you going fast.
Yes. Girl, I'm trying to get
Cheryl
Evelyn.
Ladd.
Look, wait.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to get Evelyn
Is
Champagne.
that
King on the
Evelyn
show.
Champagne?
Evelyn Champagne. I'm trying to get.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, because I contacted her people, so I'm trying to get people like her. I'm trying to get Thelma from Good Times. I'm trying to get some folks that we can just have fun with and probably get them on one of this episode. Because Thelma's from Brooklyn, so I want to get someone like from New York. Stephanie Mills is kind of I'm trying to get her.
She grew up in Vanderbilt. I deliver fish to her house. I used to say she sound like a bird. That's who inspired me to want to sing.
Who? Lisa Fisher or Stephanie Mills?
I went to high school, performing arts high school, and I could have went to Juilliard, but that's a long story. But yeah, I studied off of classical music before.
She's really good. She's really good. Goodness. She's really good.
That's a true story. I went to school with Mos Def. I went to school with Taj from SWV. I was supposed to be a part of that crew, but it was because I wasn't ready. My mind wasn't ready at the time.
We're gonna talk about the stories. We're gonna talk about things that you didn't know about all of us.
Biggie, that was my homie. That was my homie. Chris, that was my homie. Word. Real story.
We need to talk.
We're gonna do that live. We're gonna
best side do or die. What's up?
Ooh,
I think
that's what it's about. Best side do or die.
I think we had the okay, let me mute her again. So I think we need to do a show on Brooklyn and just have a good time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a bad behind fly on that. Just get a lot of Brooklyn to come on and probably see if we can get some music or whatever the case may be. I think we can have our own. Yeah, that's gonna take some. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that one. So should I mute her behind now? Because she's getting on my damn nerve. I'm like, damn. So we saying goodbye for Tiara as well. Okay, her mic don't work anymore. So
I was saying we could dress up in 90s clothes on that day.
Ooh.
Okay.
Get that sweatshirt with the double letters on it and everything.
No, wait a minute. I still have my chain. You remember when you had because I used to go to Caesar's
the herringbone chain or
yes.
Yes. Remember with your name on it? I saw my name.
I still have mine. I still have. Is Zena getting hers? Zena,
you getting your name? What you got? Oh my God!
Listen, and I was on that page, and also PS193. Oh, she's gone. Okay. That's okay. We removed her from the stream. It's all good. It's okay. So without further ado, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Women Are Worthy show. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, the Women Are Worthy Network, Instagram, and Facebook is the Women Are Worthy show. My co-hosts we've just had a wonderful time. And again,
yes, we did.
I'm apologizing for Miss Rosenberg. I don't know her. Zena introduced me to her and convinced me to bring her on this show.
She's my cousin.
Yes, it's her cousin. So please don't hold me responsible for whatever she said on the show. This is Zena's cousin. I just met this chick yesterday. I pretended I known her for a while because she's from Brooklyn. I don't know her. So don't hold me responsible for the thing that she has said. Okay. Please, I'm begging y'all. Please, So again, we want to thank everyone for being on the Women Are Worthy show. I had a great time. We got to think about the next show, ladies, because this has been great. Okay.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And have a fabulous Monday and a terrific